I need you to listen closely, because what I'm about to say is not for the faint-hearted. Most people are living on autopilot, asleep in their own lives, letting the clock run while their dreams fade into the background, They are waiting for the right time, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for the motivation to magically appear. But let me tell you something. Motivation doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. The life you are living right now, every single second, every single choice is either building your future or burying it. You are at a crossroads. And right now, in this very moment, you have the chance to decide whether you will settle for average or rise to the level of the 1%. But let me warn you, the path of the 1% is not easy. It's not for those who make excuses, for those who give in to comfort, for those who let fear dictate their actions. It's for the relentless, the bold, the ones willing to sacrifice today for greatness tomorrow. I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to stop being ordinary? Are you ready to stop living for temporary and start living for permanent results Because here's the truth. They will not hand you greatness. They will not hand you success. You must claim it. You must fight for it. Every second you spend scrolling, procrastinating, or hesitating is a second someone else is using to get ahead. Every minute you doubt yourself is a minute your competition is gaining. You are either moving toward mastery or moving away from it. There is no neutral. And the 1% mindset is what will pull you out of mediocrity and push you into a league few ever enter, a mindset where fear, doubt, and limitation cannot touch you. Right now, I want you to feel the weight of your choices, the weight of your dreams, the weight of the life you've been avoiding. You have everything you need inside you: strength, vision, potential, but it's useless if your mind is not trained, if your focus is scattered, if your will is weak. The 1% mindset is not a suggestion. It's a requirement. It's the mental armor that prepares you to endure struggle, to face rejection, to push past pain, and to rise when everyone else falls. It's the difference between someone who talks about dreams and someone who actually lives them. It's the difference between watching life happen and making life happen. So I need you to decide right now, are you going to keep following the crowd, repeating the patterns that have kept you average, or are you going to wake up, take control of your mind, and dominate your reality? Because this is more than a speech. This is a call to action. This is the moment where you commit to building a life that demands respect, commands results, and refuses excuses. This is your chance to step into a mindset that makes comfort uncomfortable, a mindset that transforms pain into power, a mindset that separates the 1% from the 99%. The choice is yours. The time is now. Your future is waiting, but only if you are ready to claim it with everything you've got. Owning your vision is not just about seeing a dream. It's about embracing it with your entire being and refusing to let anything or anyone make you doubt it. The 1% mindset is built on this unshakable clarity. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances, letting the world tell them who they are and what they can or cannot achieve. They wait for the perfect moment, for the right opportunity, for someone else to hand them a chance. But the truth is, opportunity doesn't knock. It is created. To own your vision means that you stop waiting for life to give you permission and you start demanding it from yourself. It's waking up every morning and reminding yourself that the life you want isn't going to come to you unless you chase it, seize it, and fight for it with everything you have. No excuses, no compromises, no delays. Owning your vision requires a radical level of self-responsibility. You must stop blaming circumstances, people, or the economy for why you haven't arrived yet. The 1% mindset understands that excuses are the tools of the average, the safe, and the stagnant. When something doesn't go your way, when doors close, when opportunities fall apart, you don't point fingers or cry foul. You adapt, you learn, you pivot, and you push forward harder than before. Every no you encounter is fuel for your fire. Every failure is a lesson, and every setback is an opportunity to prove that your vision is bigger than your problems. Owning your vision means that you look in the mirror and take full responsibility for where you are, where you're going, and how you're going to get there, no matter how impossible it seems to anyone else. To truly own your vision, you must also be willing to define it clearly. Vague dreams produce vague results. Saying, I want to be successful or I want to be rich is not enough. You must see the picture so vividly in your mind that it haunts you, that it drives you, that it refuses to let you sleep at night because you know that settling for less is no longer an option. The 1% mindset doesn't accept mediocrity, and neither should you. When you own your vision, you articulate with precision. You know exactly what success looks like, what steps are required, and what sacrifices you're willing to make. This clarity becomes a roadmap that guides every choice you make, every decision, every action, every relationship, and every moment of your life must align with that vision. Anything outside of it is a distraction, and distractions are luxuries the 1% cannot afford. Owning your vision also means step below. Team, an unbreakable belief in yourself. The world will doubt you. People will tell you it's impossible, that you're not ready, that you don't have what it takes. Friends, family, colleagues, even mentors, they will question your ambition. And sometimes they will question your ambition. And sometimes they will unknowingly try to clip your wings. A 1% mindset doesn't shrink under criticism or skepticism. Instead, it uses it as a mirror to reflect back the fire within. You cannot rely on others to validate your dreams. You must validate them yourself. You must speak to yourself. In the moments when doubt creeps in, when fear whispers, when the world seems to conspire against you, you must remind yourself that your vision is yours and yours alone, that no one else has the power to diminish it, and that it is worth every ounce of struggle, sweat, and sacrifice. Owning your vision is not for the faint-hearted. It requires resilience, persistence, and an almost brutal level of honesty with yourself. You have to ask yourself difficult questions. Are you willing to work harder than everyone else? Are you willing to outlast the competition? Are you willing to be patient when results don't come immediately? When life seems unfair? When every part of you wants to quit? Owning your vision means saying yes to the grind, yes to discomfort, and yes to discomfort, and yes to the long journey that most people will never endure. It's about understanding that no one will hand you your dreams, that the ladder to the top is built one run at a time, and that every run requires sacrifice, focus, and relentless action. Another critical aspect of owning your vision is protecting it. Just as a gardener protects a seed until it grows into a tree, you must guard your vision against negativity, doubt, and distractions. People who are comfortable with mediocrity will try to convince you to settle. The world thrives on conformity, on convincing people to stay small, and the 1% mindset refuses to comply. You must shield yourself from those who drain your energy, from environments that foster complacency, and from thoughts that whisper, maybe you're not ready. Your vision is sacred, and protecting it is as important as pursuing it. Every hour spent doubting, procrastinating, or seeking approval from others is an hour stolen from your future. To truly own your vision, action is non-negotiable. Thinking, planning, and visualizing are essential, but nothing changes until you move. The 1% mindset is not theoretical. It is actionable. Every day, you must do something that inches you closer to your dream, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is inconvenient, even when the world does not notice. Small steps compound into massive results over time. And those who refuse to act remain stuck in the shadows of their own potential. You must become a machine of consistent execution, relentless in your pursuit, refusing to be distracted, and unwilling to settle. Finally, owning your vision requires faith in the unseen. You will not have proof of success when you start. You will not feel capable in the beginning, and the path will be riddled with uncertainty. But the 1% mindset thrives on belief, not guarantees. You must trust the process, trust your effort, and trust yourself. Every action, no matter how small, is a deposit into the account of your future. Every struggle is a test of your commitment, and every obstacle is a signal that your vision is worth fighting for. The people who reach the top are not necessarily the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to let fear, doubt, or delay dictate their journey. Owning your vision is a lifestyle. It is waking up every day with purpose, moving with intensity, and refusing to compromise when shortcuts or easy paths present themselves. It is about being relentless in the pursuit of what others say is impossible. It is about taking full responsibility for your life, your choices, and your future. The 1% mindset does not ask for permission. It takes what it deserves. And when you own your vision fully, when excuses no longer have a place in your vocabulary, when fear is no longer a factor, you start to see results that most people cannot even imagine. You start to live a life that commands respect, admiration, and legacy. Owning your vision is the foundation of greatness. If you master this first step, the rest becomes a matter of execution, discipline, and endurance. This is not about talent, luck, or circumstance. It is about clarity, responsibility, and unwavering commitment. You cannot allow excuses to dictate your future. You cannot let fear or doubt control your actions. Your vision is yours. Take it, own it, defend it, and pursue it relentlessly. Do not wait for someone else to hand it to you. And do not let anyone tell you it is impossible. The moment you fully own your vision, the world becomes your arena and nothing can stop you. Embracing a relentless work ethic. Embracing a relentless work ethic is the heartbeat of the 1% mindset. It's not enough to have a vision if you are not willing to put in the work that separates the average from the extraordinary. Most people say they want success. They say they want to be great. But when the reality of effort, consistency, and sacrifice hits them, they falter. They are unwilling to show up when no one is watching, unwilling to grind while others are resting, unwilling to do the extra mile that nobody else is willing to take. The 1% mindset is forged in fire, and that fire is fueled by a work ethic that cannot be compromised, a drive that cannot be diminished, and a commitment that is non-negotiable. To embrace money, a dogfight. To embrace this relentless work ethic means that you understand success is not given. It is earned daily through sweat, struggle, and unyielding action. This work ethic is not just about working harder. It is about working smarter and then harder on top of that. It's about waking up every day with a purpose, a plan, and the tenacity to execute it fully. Ordinary people wait for motivation to strike, hoping for some magical surge of inspiration that may never come. The 1% mindset doesn't wait for motivation. It creates momentum through discipline. You decide what needs to be done. You take responsibility for completing it, and you push yourself beyond the limits that most people accept. You understand that greatness is not an accident. It is a deliberate act that requires consistency, intensity, and sacrifice. A relentless work ethic means showing up when it's inconvenient. It means putting in the hours while others are sleeping, scrolling, or wasting time in trivial pursuits. It means training, learning, practicing, and honing your skills, even when the world doesn't notice or appreciate it. Most people want recognition, applause, and validation, but the 1% mindset doesn't operate for approval. It operates for results. You put in the work because you respect your vision, because you honor your future, because you refuse to settle for mediocrity. You understand that the seeds of greatness are planted in sweat, watered by persistence, and harvested through endurance. The relentless work ethic is also about resilience. It's about grinding through setbacks, obstacles, and failures. You will fail. You will be tested. You will encounter doors slammed in your face, opportunities lost, and moments where quitting feels easier than continuing. But the 1% mindset sees these moments not as reasons to stop, but as challenges to overcome, as signals that you are on the path that separates the average from the elite. The grind doesn't get easier. You get stronger. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to refine. Our work ethic, to sharpen your focus, and to develop the stamina that only relentless effort can produce. Embracing a relentless work ethic also means abandoning entitlement. Too many people believe that success is owed to them because of who they are, what they have, or what they deserve. The 1% mindset understands that nothing is owed, that life does not guarantee fairness, and that the only thing that guarantees results is consistent effort. You cannot rely on luck, connections, or talent alone. You must be willing to outwork, outlast, and outperform everyone in your lane. You must develop the mentality that if you are not working harder than the person next to you, you are falling behind. This level of commitment separates those who achieve greatness from those who achieve greatness from those who merely dream about it. The relentless work ethic is also about focus. It's about identifying the tasks, habits, and routines that drive results and executing them without distraction. It's about eliminating wasted energy, avoiding time killers, and refusing to be swayed by the noise of opinions, negativity, or excuses. Most people are busy, but they are not productive. They fill their days with activity, but achieve nothing meaningful. The 1% mindset is strategic and it's work. Every action has a purpose. Every hour has a value, and every decision is weighed against a long-term vision. You grind with intent, not with chaos. And that intentionality compounds over time, creating results that others cannot even imagine. Another crucial aspect of a relentless work ethic is consistency. Talent can get you started, connections can open doors, and luck may give you opportunities. But consistency is what separates the 1% from the 99%. It is not about a single moment of effort or a short burst of intensity. It is about showing up every day, rain or shine, tired or motivated, inspired or doubting, and doing it, the bubble, or anyway. It is about committing to the long game, understanding that mastery, success, and influence are earned through repetition, endurance, and the refusal to quit. The 1% mindset is unrelenting because it knows that the world is built for the patient, the disciplined, and the unstoppable. Embracing a relentless work ethic also involves embracing discomfort. Growth is never comfortable. Pushing beyond limits, learning new skills, facing criticism, and stepping into unfamiliar territory all come with resistance, pain, and struggle. The 1% mindset doesn't avoid discomfort. It seeks it out. You understand that if it were easy, everyone would do it. And if everyone could do it, it wouldn't separate the elite from the ordinary. You push past physical fatigue, mental barriers, and emotional obstacles because you know that each moment of struggle strengthens you, molds you, and moves you closer to the life you envision. Comfort is the enemy of greatness, and the 1% mindset refuses to be a prisoner of it. Furthermore, a relentless work ethic is contagious. It inspires those around you and commands respect from the world. People are drawn to those who refuse to settle, who grind with intensity, and who produce results when others are talking about them. Your work ethic becomes your signature, your standard, and your competitive advantage. When you embrace it fully, you become unstoppable, not because the world bends to you, but because you refuse to bend to the world. You control your destiny through effort, discipline, and action. The 1% mindset also understands that the grind is not glamorous and the results are not instant. There is no overnight success, no magic formula, and no substitute for relentless effort. It requires patience, humility, and a willingness to embrace the process. You must love the work itself, even when it's grueling, thankless, and exhausting. You must be willing to do what others refuse to do, to go where others won't go, and to push when everyone else is quitting. It is in this relentless, unrelenting pursuit that greatness is forged. Finally, embracing a relentless work ethic is about legacy. It's about building something that outlasts you, impacting the world in ways that matter, and proving to yourself that you refuse to settle for mediocrity. The 1% mindset doesn't just work for today. It works for tomorrow, for your future, and for the people who will benefit from the results of your relentless pursuit. You grind not just to achieve, but to leave behind proof that effort, discipline, and unyielding work can defy limits, break barriers, and transform dreams into reality. When you fully embrace a relentless work ethic, you step into a league that few dare to enter. You understand that dreams are meaningless without execution, that talent is wasted without consistency, and that vision is powerless without action. You embrace the grind, you endure the struggle, and you move with a level of intensity that separates the 1% from the rest. Your work ethic becomes your weapon, your shield, and your identity. You don't just want success. You demand it through effort, and you refuse to stop until you get it. Discipline over motivation is the foundation that separates the 1% from the 99%. Motivation is temporary, fleeting and unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. And if you rely on it, you will be at the mercy of circumstances, mood swings, and external factors. Motivation feels good. It excites you. It gives you energy for a moment, but it never lasts. Discipline, on the other hand, is unwavering, consistent, and unstoppable. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. It is the engine that keeps you moving when you are tired, when you are stressed, when the world is against you. And when excuses start creeping in, to truly embody the 1% mindset, you must understand that motivation can inspire you, but discipline is what creates results, builds character, guarantees progress over time. When you prioritize discipline over motivation, you no longer depend on feeling like it to show up and do the work. Most people wait for the perfect emotional state, the perfect moment of inspiration, or the perfect conditions to start or continue their journey. That is why most people fail. They are reactive, waiting for signals outside of themselves. The 1% mindset flips this on its head. You take control. You decide to act not because you feel like it, but because you understand that your future demands it. You develop a system of consistent action, a set of habits and routines that keep you moving forward, even when your emotions are low, even when you're exhausted, and even when it seems impossible. Discipline is not a feeling. It is a choice, a daily commitment, a relentless refusal to allow excuses, distractions, or comfort to dictate your results. Discipline over motivation also means building routines that support your growth and sticking to them no matter what. It means showing up every day at the same time, completing the tasks that others avoid, and holding yourself accountable to standards that most people wouldn't even dare to uphold. Motivation might make you want to train today, but discipline ensures you train whether you want it to or not. Motivation might make you feel inspired to work on your goals today, but discipline guarantees that progress continues even on the days when life is harsh, painful, and unfair. It is this consistency, this unyielding commitment to structure and purpose that compounds over time into massive results that others can't comprehend. Another powerful aspect of discipline over motivation is mental toughness. Disciplintra. It's your mind to operate independently of your emotions. Life will test you, people will let you down. Circumstances will be rough and the world will challenge your dreams. Motivation alone is fragile in the face of adversity. Discipline is the armor that protects you. It allows you to push through pain, fatigue, rejection, and failure without wavering. It is the inner strength that says, I will do this because it matters, because I committed, because I promised myself, and because my future depends on it. Discipline is not optional. It is a requirement for anyone who wants to rise above mediocrity and stand in the top 1% of achievers. Discipline also creates freedom. This might sound counterintuitive, but when you are disciplined, you no longer live as a slave to your impulses, procrastination, or fleeting desires. You are in control of your time, your energy, and your actions. You decide what you will do, how you will do it, and when you will do it. People who rely solely on motivation are constantly reactive, constantly chasing feelings, constantly struggling to maintain momentum. Discipline allows you to plan, execute, and achieve consistently, which is how extraordinary lives are built. The 1% mindset understands that freedom is earned through structure, that control is gained through commitment, and that lasting results require action, even when it is inconvenient, uncomfortable, or exhausting. Choosing discipline over motivation also separates you from the crowd because it means you do what most people won't. Most people quit when they are tired, when it's hard, when they face obstacles, or when they don't feel inspired. You don't quit. You show up. You keep moving. You keep grinding. Discipline allows you to execute long after motivation has left the room. You become a machine of consistent effort. A person whose results are undeniable because you refuse to allow temporary feelings to dictate permanent outcomes. It is this stubborn commitment to doing what is necessary that creates a gap between the average and the elite, between the 99% and the 1%. Discipline also fuels resilience. Life will knock you down repeatedly. And if you rely on motivation alone, you will stay down. Motivation is fragile, but discipline is durable. When everything goes wrong, when the world is dark, when failure stares you in the face, discipline pushes you forward. A discipline is a muscle, and every time you act in spite of discomfort, fatigue, fear, or doubt, you strengthen that muscle. Over time, you develop the mental toughness, focus, and endurance that become your competitive advantage. You become someone who cannot be stopped because discipline becomes your identity. The 1% mindset knows that discipline also shapes character. It is not just about finishing tasks. It is about building integrity, reliability, and personal standards that cannot be compromised. When you choose discipline over motivation, you show the world and yourself that you are dependable, committed, and unshakable. Your word becomes your bond. Your actions speak louder than feelings, and your consistency inspires respect and admiration. People will notice the results, but more importantly, you will notice the transformation within yourself. You become someone who does not rely on luck, inspiration, or circumstances. You rely on yourself, on your work ethic, and on your ability to keep pushing when others quit. Discipline also bridges the gap between potential, everyone has potential, everyone has dreams, everyone has talent. But potential alone is meaningless without action. Motivation might give you a spark, but discipline provides the fuel for the journey. It turns ideas into execution, dreams into reality, and ambition into achievement. The 1% mindset in a dogfight stands that your potential is unlocked only when you consistently do the work, even when you don't feel like it, and even when life tries to make you stop. Discipline is the bridge that connects who you are today with the person you want to become tomorrow. Finally, discipline over motivation is a lifelong commitment. It is not something you do for a week, a month, or a year. It is a daily, hourly, moment-to-moment choice to show up, to execute, and to refuse shortcuts, excuses, or complacency. It is about creating habits that reinforce your vision, routines that build momentum, and standards that never compromise your future. When you embrace discipline fully, you are unstoppable. Motivation becomes a bonus, an added push, but you no longer depend on it. You operate from commitment, from integrity, from unshakable purpose. This is the essence of the 1% mindset. The understanding that feelings are fleeting, but results are built on unrelenting discipline. When you choose discipline over motivation, you stop being a passenger in your life. You become the driver. You stop reacting to circumstances and start creating them. You stop hoping for results and start demanding them through relentless, consistent focus and uncompromising action. Discipline over motivation is what separates dreamers from doers, talkers from achievers, and the ordinary from the extraordinary. If you embrace discipline fully, you will achieve what most people only imagine. Because while the world waits for motivation, you have already done the work. You have already won the internal battles, and the external victories become inevitable. Failure is not the enemy of success. It is the most honest teacher you will ever have. The 1% mindset understands that failure is not a signal to stop, to give up, or to question your worth. It is a signal to learn, adapt, and come back stronger. Most people are terrified of failing. They see it as shameful, embarrassing, or proof that they are not capable. They avoid challenges, shy away from risks, and choose the comfort of mediocrity over the struggle required for greatness. But the truth is, failure is inevitable on the path to success. It is unavoidable. The only difference between those who achieve extraordinary results and those who remain average is not the absence of failure, but the way they respond to it. To learn from failures and not fear them is to embrace growth, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of your vision, no matter how many times you stumble. Learning from failures begins with shifting your perspective. Most people see failure as a reflection of who they are, a personal deficiency, a judgment on their character or abilities. The 1% mindset sees failure differently. It is feedback, not a verdict. It is data, not condemnation. Every failure contains a lesson. Every mistake contains insight. And every setback contains information that, if applied, can bring you closer to your goals. To fear failure is to blind yourself to this valuable guidance. To embrace it is to gain clarity. about what works, what doesn't, and what you need to change. The 1% mindset knows that failures are not signs of weakness. They are opportunities to sharpen your strategy, strengthen your resolve, and fortify your determination. Failure also teaches humility. No matter how talented, intelligent, or capable you are, life will humble you. The 1% mindset understands that humility is not a weakness. It is a strength that keeps you open to learning, growth, and improvement. Every failure forces you to confront the truth about your actions, decisions, and approach. It strips away illusions of infallibility and demands honesty. It forces you to analyze what went wrong, take responsibility, and make adjustments. Those who fear failure often blame external factors, point fingers, or make excuses. But those with the 1% mindset internalize the lessons, correct the course, and keep moving forward more insight and precision than before. Fear of failure is one of the biggest traps that keeps people small. Fear paralyzes action. It makes you overthink, procrastinate, and second guess yourself. It convinces you to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid risks, and to play it safe. But safety never creates greatness. The 1% mindset understands that growth exists on the other side of fear. You must confront it, stare it down, and refuse to let it control your decisions. You must be willing to fail publicly, fail privately, fail repeatedly, and fail in ways that make others uncomfortable. Each time you do, you build resilience, courage, and an unshakable belief in your ability to recover, adapt, and succeed. Failure becomes a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Learning from failure also requires reflection and analysis. You cannot grow if you do not understand why you failed. The 1% mindset approaches failure methodically. You dissect every mistake, examine every choice, and evaluate every action that led to the result. What went right? What went wrong? What could you have done differently? What did you overlook? This brutal honesty is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Without it, failure becomes meaningless. With it, failure becomes your most powerful teacher. You turn every loss, every rejection, and every setback into intelligence for your next move. You transform mistakes into experience and experience into mastery. Resilience is built through repeated exposure to failure. The 1% mindset knows that the path to success is littered with obstacles, disappointments, and setbacks. Those who fear failure crumble under the first blow, while those who embrace it keep moving, keep adapting, and keep learning. Five. Your tests your commitment to your vision. It tests your dedication to the process. It tests your ability to stay disciplined, focused, and relentless, even when the world seems to be pushing back. The more you experience failure without fear, the stronger your mental fortitude becomes. You stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing challenges as threats and start valuing growth. Failure also builds creativity and problem-solving skills. When something doesn't work, when a plan fails, when a strategy collapses, you are forced to think differently, adjust, and innovate. The 1% mindset thrives in these moments. Instead of retreating, you experiment, iterate, and explore new solutions. You understand that the first attempt rarely succeeds, that the first few failures are expected, and that perseverance combined with analysis is the key to breakthrough results. Fear of failure keeps people rigid, stuck, and predictable, while learning from it allows you to evolve, adapt, and discover pathways that others never even consider. Embracing failure also builds character and grit. The 1% mindset recognizes that life is not a smooth journey and that challenges, hardships, and failures are inevitable. When you face them head on, you develop patience, persistence, and determination. You learn to endure discomfort without giving up. You learn to stay committed when results are slow or invisible. You learn to embrace the grind because you know that setbacks are temporary, but the lessons they teach are permanent. Fear of failure, on the other hand, breeds mediocrity, complacency, and regret. People who fear it spend their lives wondering what could have been, while those who embrace it build a legacy rooted in courage, action, and resilience. Another crucial aspect of learning from failure is the ability to inspire others. When you fail and recover, you demonstrate strength, determination, and perseverance. People notice they are inspired not by those who never stumble, but by those who rise again and again, stronger each time and again, stronger each time. The 1% mindset uses failure as a platform to showcase resilience, to lead by example, and to prove that setbacks are not the end. They are the beginning of something greater. You stop seeing failure shameful and start seeing it as honorable, necessary, and transformative. Finally, learning from failure requires patience and long-term thinking. Immediate results are rare, and success is seldom linear. The 1% mindset understands that every failure is an investment in your growth and future victories. Each misstep is a lesson that, when applied consistently, compounds into mastery, expertise, and achievement. You do not fear the temporary discomfort of failure because you know it is preparing you for a permanent position of power, influence, and success. You are willing to endure setbacks, embrace criticism, and face the harsh reality of mistakes because you understand that the end result, the life you are building, is worth every moment of struggle. Learning from failures and not fearing them is the mark of those who rise above the ordinary. It is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers, and the followers from the leaders. The 1% mindset sees failure as a tool, a test, a teacher, and a stepping stone. You analyze it, you grow from it, you adapt, and you persist. Fear of failure no longer controls you because you know that every stumble is a step forward if you are willing to learn. When you embrace failure, you unlock resilience, courage, and insight that most people will never experience. You stop living a life dictated by fear and start living a life defined by action, learning, and relentless pursuit of your vision. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the pathway to it. To fear, it is to limit yourself. To learn from it is to embrace the 1% mindset. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every extraordinary life is built on the foundation of failure, reflection, adaptation, and persistence. You must not only accept failure, you must welcome it, study it, and use it to fuel your rise. The moment you stop fearing it, the moment you stop learning from it, is the moment you stop fully into the mindset that separates the elite from the mindset that separates the elite from the ordinary, the unstoppable from the rest. Sacrifice today for tomorrow's greatness is the principle that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the 99% from the 1%. Most people live for comfort, for ease, for instant gratification. They chase pleasure, convenience, and shortcuts, believing that life should be simple and rewards should be immediate. But the 1% mindset understands that greatness is never free. It is never easy, and it is never easy, and it is never instantaneous. Every achievement, every legacy, every extraordinary life requires trade-offs. Sacrifice is the currency of success, and those who are unwilling to pay the price will never taste the fruits of their vision. To sacrifice today is to make choices that may feel uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even painful, knowing that the payoff will be immeasurable tomorrow. It is the willingness to endure temporary discomfort in exchange for permanent results. A sacrifice begins with priorities. Most people say they want success, but their daily actions tell a different story. They spend hours scrolling, socializing, or indulging in distractions while their dreams quietly fade in the background. The 1% mindset says no. You cannot pursue greatness while catering to every whim or indulging in every fleeting pleasure. Sacrifice means putting your vision above immediate comfort. It means waking up early when others sleep, working when others rest, and studying when others play. It means doing what is necessary, even when it is not convenient, because you know that comfort today is the enemy of achievement tomorrow. To embrace sacrifice, you must develop foresight. You must look beyond the immediate moment, beyond the instant gratification that so easily seduces ordinary people, and see the long-term results of your choices. Every hour spent wisely, every decision made with discipline, every ounce of energy dedicated to your growth compounds and outcomes that most people cannot even imagine. Sacrifice is the willingness to delay gratification, to put in the work now so that the rewards will be exponential later. It requires vision, patience, and a commitment to a future that is bigger than your present desires. The 1% mindset knows that short-term pain creates long-term gain, and that every choice must be weighed against the life you are building. Sacrifice also requires self-discipline. It is easy to talk about greatness, to dream about success, and to imagine the life you want, but it is much harder to do what must be done every single day to make it a reality. Sacrifice demands that you say no to distractions, no to comfort, and no to things that do not serve your vision. It demands that you prioritize your time, energy, and focus above everything else. Most people are unwilling to do this. They want results without the cost, rewards without the effort, and recognition without the struggle. The 1% mindset understands that nothing worth having comes without sacrifice, and nothing lasting is built without consistent, disciplined action over time. Sacrifice is also about resilience in the face of criticism. When you commit to greatness, you will be misunderstood. Friends, family, and colleagues may question your choices, ridicule your work ethic, or fail to understand why you are pushing so hard. Sacrifice is choosing to stay the course even when others do not support you. It is the courage to pursue what matters to you, even if it means being lonely, being judged, or being challenged. The 1% mindset thrives in these moments because it understands that temporary discomfort and social approval is insignificant compared to the magnitude of success that awaits on the other side of commitment. To sacrifice today is to endure physical and mental strain that most people avoid. It may mean early mornings, late nights, long hours, and endless repetition. It may mean pushing your body beyond limits, training your mind to endure struggle, and working relentlessly even when results are not immediately visible. Sacrifice is not glamorous, but it is transformative. It shapes character, builds discipline, and creates a resilience that cannot be taught or bought. Those who embrace sacrifice understand that the temporary hardships of today are the building blocks of the extraordinary life they will live tomorrow. Sacrifice also involves letting go of the familiar. Many people cling to comfort zones, routines, and habits that feel safe, even when those habits are holding them back. To pursue greatness, you must be willing to let go of old patterns, toxic relationships, and behaviors that limit your potential. The 1% mindset understands that growth requires discomfort, and discomfort requires sacrifice. You cannot achieve a new level of success by doing the same things you have always done. You must be willing to give up what is familiar and comfortable to embrace what is challenging, uncertain, and transformative. Another dimension of sacrifice is the prioritization of delayed rewards over immediate pleasure. Instant gratification is everywhere, and most people are enslaved by it. They chase temporary highs, indulgences, and comfort at the expense of the higher long-term vision. The 1% mindset refuses to be enslaved. You understand that every hour spent working toward your vision, every dollar invested in your growth, every choice made with discipline is a seed for a future harvest. You delay pleasure today because the rewards tomorrow are priceless, permanent, and life-changing. This ability to prioritize the future over the present is what separates ordinary people from the elite, and it is a hallmark of the 1% mindset. Sacrifice also teaches focus and clarity. When you are willing to give up distractions, indulgences, and time-wasting habits, you free yourself to channel all your energy toward what truly matters. The 1% mindset does not scatter effort. It concentrates power, attention, and action in a single, unstoppable direction. By saying no to what does not serve your vision, you say yes to your future, to your potential, and to the extraordinary life you are building. Sacrifice sharpens your mental clarity, strengthens your resolve, and removes the noise that keeps most people stagnant. Finally, sacrifice creates legacy. It is not just about achieving success for yourself, but about building something meaningful that lasts. Those who embrace sacrifice understand that the struggles, the long hours, the choices to endure discomfort today are not meaningless. They are investments in a future that will inspire, impact, and influence generations to come. Greatness is never accidental. It is deliberate. It is earned through the repeated decision to give up temporary pleasures, to endure temporary pleasures, to endure temporary pain, and to act with relentless commitment toward a vision that is bigger than the present moment. The 1% mindset knows that the life you live today is the reflection of the sacrifices you make, and that those sacrifices compound into extraordinary results that few will ever achieve. To sacrifice today for tomorrow's greatness is to raise money. A dog fight is to endure struggle, delay gratification, and stay committed when the world is tempting you to quit. It is to prioritize your vision above everything else, to make choices that matter, and to act with discipline when feelings are fleeting. It is to understand that the life you dream of is not built on luck, shortcuts, or excuses. It is built on consistent, deliberate, and sometimes painful sacrifice. Those who master this principle live a life of power, impact, and influence. Those who refuse it remain average, wondering why their dreams never materialize. Sacrifice is the price of greatness, and the 1% mindset pays it in full every single day without hesitation, without complaint, and without regret. Thinking different and acting different is a cornerstone of the 1% mindset. Most people live their lives on autopilot, following a crowd, doing what everyone else does, and expecting extraordinary results from ordinary actions. They accept the status quo, conform to the norms, and remain trapped in mediocrity because they never question how things could be done differently. The 1% mindset refuses to be ordinary. It understands that if you want to rise above the rest, you must think differently from the very start. You must challenge conventional wisdom, question assumptions, and see opportunities where others only see obstacles. Thinking different is not just about creativity. It is about a radical shift in perspective, a refusal to settle for common answers, and the willingness to explore uncharted paths that others are too afraid to take. When you think differently, you see the world through a lens of possibility rather than limitation. Most people focus on problems, barriers, and reasons why something cannot be done. The 1% mindset focuses on solutions, workarounds, and strategies that turn the impossible into achievable. You understand that? The same set of circumstances can produce drastically different outcomes depending on how you approach them. While others are stuck complaining about scarcity, unfairness, or lack of resources, you are asking, how can I make this work? What can I do that no one else is willing to do? Thinking different allows you to reframe challenges as opportunities, obstacles as lessons, and failures as feedback, and it positions you to make moves that others never even consider. Thinking different is not enough. You must act different. Action is the proving ground for ideas. Many people think big, dream big, and imagine big things, but they act in small, conventional ways. The 1% mindset understands that extraordinary results require extraordinary action. You must move in ways that defy expectations, take steps that others avoid, and execute with a level of intensity that commands attention. Thinking different without action is fantasy. Acting different without vision is chaos. Together, they create leverage, impact, and unstoppable momentum. Acting different is about refusing to be average, about doing the work that others won't, about making bold choices even when they are risky, uncomfortable, or misunderstood. Thinking different also requires courage. It takes guts to step away from the crowd, to challenge norms, and to pursue unconventional paths. People will question you, doubt you, and even ridicule you when you refuse to follow the familiar path. The 1% mindset thrives in these moments because it understands that being misunderstood is a small price to pay for extraordinary results. You must be willing to stand alone, to think against the tide, and to act boldly when everyone else is hesitant. Courage fuels innovation, resilience, and differentiation. It separates those who achieve greatness from those who blend into the background. Thinking different also means embracing creativity and innovation. It is about exploring new approaches, experimenting with unconventional methods, and refusing to accept this is how it's always been done. The 1% mindset understands that growth comes from experimentation, risk-taking, and learning from the outcomes of actions that others never dare to attempt. You are constantly looking for ways to improve, optimize, and innovate, whether it is in your work, your habits, your relationships, or your strategies. By thinking differently, you position yourself to capitalize on opportunities that the average person cannot see. And by acting differently, you convert those opportunities into real-world results. Acting different requires discipline and consistency. It is easy to have new ideas, to see possibilities, or to envision a different future, but execution is what separates dreamers from achievers. You must consistently align your actions with your unique vision. Refuse shortcuts that compromise results and be relentless in your pursuit. The 1% mindset does not rely on luck or timing. It relies on deliberate, intentional action that defies mediocrity. You act when others hesitate. You push when others rest. You persist when others quit. Your actions reflect your mindset, and your results reflect your willingness to operate differently from everyone else. Thinking different also allows you to anticipate change. Most people react to circumstances. They follow trends, mimic others, and respond too late. The 1% mindset anticipates, innovates, and leads. By thinking differently, you are not waiting for opportunities to present themselves. You are creating them. You identify gaps where others see none. You act preemptively, positioning yourself ahead of the competition. The ability to anticipate, adapt, and innovate is a hallmark of those who rise to the top while others are still trying to catch up. Acting differently means that when others are hesitant, you are decisive. When others are uncertain, you are bold. And when others are complacent, you are relentless. Thinking die. Fear also demands a strong internal compass. You must define your values, principles, and standards and let them guide your actions, even when external pressures push for conformity. The world is full of distractions, opinions, and forces that want you to fit in, play it safe, or settle for less. The 1% mindset navigates these pressures by staying true to its vision, making decisions based on strategy and purpose rather than comfort or approval. Acting different is not rebellion for its own sake. It is alignment with your higher goals and commitment to the outcomes you are determined to achieve. Acting differently requires resilience in the face of criticism and doubt. People will resist, misunderstand, or undermine you because they are trapped in conventional thinking. The 1% mindset does not seek validation or permission. It seeks results. You persist because you know your path is unique and that extraordinary achievements require extraordinary effort. You understand that discomfort, criticism, and challenge are signals that you are on the right track. While others are distracted by opinions and judgment, you focus on execution, consistency, and results. Thinking different and acting different also builds influence and leadership. When you operate differently, people take notice. They are inspired, intrigued, and compelled by your courage, creativity, and audacity. Your mindset and actions create a ripple effect that influences others to elevate their own thinking and performance. The 1% mindset does not seek followers. It sets a standard, models excellence, and commands respect through results. People are drawn to leaders who think differently and act with decisiveness, courage, and purpose because they see the extraordinary in action. Finally, thinking different and acting different is the essence of the 1% mindset because it creates exponential leverage. It separates the average from the elite, the imitators from the innovators, and the reactive from the proactive. Those who dare to think differently see possibilities where others see limits. Those who dare to act differently create opportunities where others see obstacles. Thinking and acting differently is not an option for greatness. It is a requirement. The moment you adopt this mindset, you begin to operate on a level few can comprehend, leaving behind mediocrity, embracing innovation, and achieving results that demand recognition. Thinking different and acting different is not just a strategy. It is a lifestyle, a mental framework, and a standard of excellence. It requires courage, resilience, creativity, discipline, and relentless action. When you combine vision with unique thinking and align it with bold, decisive execution, you unlock doors that others cannot even see. You operate outside the limits of convention, and the results you produce become undeniable proof that the 1% mindset is not about luck, talent, or circumstance. It is about perspective, action, and relentless commitment to being extraordinary. Mastering your mindset is the ultimate tool for owning your life, and it is the defining trait of the 1% mindset. The truth is, most people are prisoners of their own thoughts. They let fear, doubt, excuses, and negative self-talk dictate their decisions, actions, and result. They react to circumstances instead of controlling them, letting their environment, the opinions of others, and fleeting emotions determine the course of their lives. The 1% mindset refuses to be a prisoner of circumstance. It understands that true power, freedom, and results come from controlling your mind, shaping your beliefs, and programming your thoughts to work for you rather than against you. Mastering your mindset is not a temporary effort. It is a daily, relentless practice that determines whether you rise to the top or remains whether you rise to the top or remain average. Your mind is the battlefield, and the way you think governs everything you do. Most people think their potential is limited by external factors, but the 1% mindset knows that the only real limits are the ones you accept mentally. Doubt, fear, indecision, and procrastination are mental barriers, and if you do not master your mindset, they will control your life. To master your mindset is to develop absolute control over your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. It is to consciously choose how you interpret challenges, setbacks, and opportunities. It is to refuse negative self-talk, to reject limiting beliefs, and to reprogram your mind for resilience, focus, and unshakable confidence. Your mindset becomes your compass, your guide, and your ultimate source of power. Owning your life begins with responsibility. The 1% mindset understands that blaming others, complaining about circumstances, or waiting for permission is a sign of mental weakness. To truly master your mind, you must take full responsibility for every choice, every action, and every outcome in your life. You must recognize that your results are the direct reflection of your thoughts, decisions, and consistency. Excuses do not build empires. They only keep you stagnant. By mastering your mindset, you stop giving power to external forces and start reclaiming it for yourself. You take ownership of your habits, your focus, and your destiny. This is the difference between living reactively and living proactively, between surviving and thriving, between ordinary and extraordinary. Mastering your mindset also requires self-awareness. You must know what thoughts are helping you and which ones are holding you back. Most people operate on autopilot, repeating patterns, internalizing doubts, and allowing negative conditioning to control their lives. The 1% mindset exam innates every thought, challenges every assumption, and aligns mental energy with purpose. You identify destructive patterns, confront limiting beliefs, and replace them with empowering truths. This self-awareness is the foundation for mental discipline, emotional control, and strategic thinking. When you know your mind, you can harness it. When you are unaware, you are powerless. Control over your emotions is another critical component. Emotions can be powerful allies or dangerous enemies. Most people allow anger, frustration, fear, or doubt to dictate their actions, and as a result, they make poor decisions, miss opportunities, and undermine their progress. The 1% mindset trains emotional intelligence, learning to observe feelings without being controlled by them. You feel, you acknowledge, but you act with clarity, purpose, and strategy. Mastering your mindset means that no circumstance, person, or setback can shake your focus. Your emotional state becomes your servant, not your master. And this control allows you to operate at a level that most people cannot sustain. Discipline of thought is central to mastering your mindset. Just as a physical athlete trains their body, a 1% mindset warrior trains their mind. You feed it knowledge, affirmations, and empowering beliefs. You practice visualization, reflection, and mental rehearsal to prepare for challenges. You choose the input, books, mentors, media, and experiences that strengthen your mind rather than weaken it. You eliminate mental junk, distractions, and negative influences that erode focus. The mind becomes a muscle. And the stronger you make it, the more unstoppable you become. A 1% mindset understands that success begins in the mind long before it manifests in results, and mastery of thought is the key to unlocking extraordinary potential. Mastering your mindset also means embracing resilience. Life will challenge you relentlessly. You will face failures, rejection, criticism, and setbacks that seem unfair and overwhelming. Most people let these moments define them, allowing doubt and despair to take root. The 1% mindset reacts differently. By controlling your mental narrative, you see challenges as temporary, failures as lessons, and adversity as a catalyst for growth. Your mind becomes a fortress, impervious to negativity, anchored in belief, and resilient in the face of pressure. Mastery of mindset is the ability to stay calm, focused, and strategic when chaos surrounds you. And it is this mental strength that allows you to own your life even under the toughest circumstances. Visualization and belief are powerful tools within this mastery. The 1% mindset knows that your brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined success and reality. By visualizing the life you want, by immersing yourself in the feeling of achievement, and by internalizing the belief that you are capable of extraordinary results, you rewire your mind for action and competence. Doubt diminishes, focus sharpens, and your actions align with your vision. Your mind begins to generate solutions, opportunities, and strategies that support the reality you are creating. Mastery of the mind means deliberately programming it to serve your goals rather than sabotage them. Consistency is the glue that binds mindset mastery to real results. Thinking positively, visualizing, and believing in yourself once or twice a week is insufficient. The 1% mindset understands that mental mastery requires daily, deliberate practice. Every day you confront limiting thoughts. Every day you confront limiting thoughts. Every day you choose focus over distraction. Every day you act intentionally. You strengthen the neural pathways that determine how you think, react, and perform. This consistency compounds, creating habits, discipline, and an inner confidence that need unstoppable forces driving your life forward. The mind becomes your weapon, your strategy, and your advantage. Mastering your mindset also requires embracing accountability. You must be brutally honest with yourself about your actions, choices, and results. Self-deception and rationalization are the enemies of mental mastery. You analyze your decisions, confront your weaknesses, and adjust your strategies accordingly. You recognize that your current results are a product of your current mindset. And if you want different outcomes, you must change your thinking first. The 1% mindset thrives on feedback, self-reflection, and growth because mastery is a continuous, never-ending process. Finally, mastering your mindset allows you to truly own your life. When your thoughts are aligned with your purpose, your emotions are under control, your beliefs empower you, and your focus is unwavering, you stop being a passenger in your own story. You take charge of your destiny. You make choices intentionally, act decisively, and create results that others thought were impossible. You stop blaming circumstances, stop waiting for permission, and stop relying on external validation. Life becomes something you design, not something you react to. Mastering your mindset is freedom, power, and transformation all at once. It is the 1% mindset in its purest form. The understanding that the battles won inside the mind determine the victories won in the world, and that by owning your thoughts, you own your life. When you fully embrace this principle, fear, doubt, and negativity lose their power. You move through life with clarity, confidence, and unshakable purpose. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks become lessons, and limitations dissolve before your mental strength. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your reality. The 1% mindset is complete. In your mind is mastered because mastery of thought precedes mastery of action, and mastery of action precedes mastery of life. The moment you take control of your mind, you take control of everything that matters. And there is nothing in the world that can stop you from achieving the extraordinary life you were born to live.